Dominique, oh my gosh, it is so great to talk to you. I realized that the last time we talked was for Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
So much has happened for you since then. So let's start there. How did that experience change everything for you in Hollywood?
Oh man, what a question. Because I really do feel like that is the experience that changed everything. I mean, even just personally, it really opened my eyes to what the beauty and the power and the magic of filmmaking actually is. That was such a treat, from working with the director, Shaka King, to the rest of the cast. Everything about that experience really opened my eyes, and just continued to set the bar even higher for what we do this for, where the passion comes in, how the passion is sustained. So yeah, I think I carry that experience near and dear to my heart. And it's been just as much as a blessing to walk into other projects and feel equally as fulfilled, for similar reasons.
One thing I remember you saying in that interview that really stood out for me, because it was so unique, was that you had the opportunity at that point in your career, all three directors that you worked with, and Barry Jenkins, Shaka King, and then upcoming, because we hadn't seen it yet, with Ryan Coogler, was that they were all Black directors, and that was
Yeah.
kind of your 1, 2, 3 back to back, which obviously is amazing. And I think that you stand alone probably in that sorority of people who had that experience. Tell me about, what that did for you, especially as someone who was really starting to navigate Hollywood.
I think, again, just a true freedom and encouragement that I don't necessarily know that I was looking for, because I didn't know what to look for at that particular point. But for that to have been what I found was, again, just the greatest gift. And again, it seemed a bit divine, because it wasn't something that I necessarily sought out, but those are the people that gave me a chance. Those are the people that said yes to me. And I am so beyond grateful. And now at this particular point, I feel like that must be a part of the reason that I feel such a sense of support or community and encouragement to stand confidently and proudly in the story that I'm telling now.
That really makes me wonder, especially for someone who, you know, was so young, is so young in this industry, what goes into your selection process? Because when we look at your credits, everything that we've seen you deliver in has this incredible message. Like, it all feels exceptionally poignant and intentional with all of those projects. They all, show something that I don't think that we often get to see, on a big screen. So what's that selection process been like for you? And have those choices been intentional?
I think the most intentional thing that I can claim in this process is wanting to work with genuine storytellers that really do care about the craft, and wanting to tell stories that affect me when I read them, and I know, this is something that I know is going to resonate, and that has resonated with the deepest parts of myself. Those are the stories that I'm most excited to be a part of. And I think, we'll see what God is cooking up for real with this whole lineup of work that he has been putting my way. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that is what I try to keep center focus through all of it. I came up in a school of thought that really believed actors, we present the opportunity for folks to be changed, and how can we engage with the communities that we're a part of to do that. And I think all of those projects have really hit the nail on the head when thinking about that original and initial messaging that I received as a young actor.
Yeah, absolutely. Which naturally kind of brings us to Wakanda Forever, which was incredible for so many reasons. But let's start here. We get to see a genius Black female character in a major film, which felt revolutionary. But I'm going to imagine that as a Cornell University graduate yourself, that was familiar space for you, because we often talk about things that we don't know we can be until we see it, but you have seen it, you've lived it. Talk to me about the importance and the significance of you in particular bringing that role to big screen.
Oh man, I would love to know what the significance is of me bringing it to the screen. I can absolutely resonate, and I think, as far as, me stepping into the role of the character, that was beyond the shadow of a doubt, one of the primary entry points for me. I think her being a college student was, to your point, something that I was very familiar with, and so that was absolutely what I anchored her thinking, her frame of mind, her viewpoint for a lot of what this that particular story was throwing at her. I rooted a lot of it in the fact that she is, at the end of the day, a college student that wants to graduate. You know, and from there, there's a lot of fun that I think came our way, and a lot of challenges too, just because of the subject matter and things like that. But yeah, I think that was crucial for me because education had always been crucial for me, and I think getting the chance to play a character that had that sort of baked into the brilliance of who she was definitely felt like, a green light for me to go further.
Well, look, I can say there's absolutely significance to you in particular bringing her to life because what you both share is that you didn't take it easy on yourselves when it came to,
Right.
the choices that you made academically. I mean,
Mhm.
Cornell University, you know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
yeah.
So we can definitely, start there with it. And even in that space, I mean, you also attended not only a prestigious university, but one that also had women who were like RiRi,
Yeah,
on that campus too, I would imagine.
absolutely.
And so that
Absolutely.
also had to feel very like every day for you
For
because
sure.
it wasn't revolutionary, it was
Yeah,
real life.
exactly.
What was the feedback like for you from fans after seeing you do this in this film?
Oh gosh, it's really been beautiful. It has been, and I think the most sort of humbling that I've received are from those women who really do this, who have a passion for robotics or STEM in whatever right, and who felt seen by the existence of this character, or who themselves held like a very intimate love for RiRi Williams and never thought that anyone else in the world would care to bring her to life in this big, blown out, beautiful scale of a way. And just to see the joy that they feel, and the warmth that that brings, has absolutely been probably top three most beautiful. Second, or in no particular order, but next up would absolutely be seeing the younger kids as well kind of lose their minds. My baby brother was the first among them to be like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" And just seeing the joy that young kids have the option to access with the existence of a character like this, when so many of us know what it was like to only have much slimmer range of options, when we were their age watching television, is just so encouraging. It really, really is.
Have you sat with that yet and thought about what it means that there are young Black girls who watch this portrayal and it changes the course of their lives? Because,
Oh man.
yeah, have you sat and thought about that?
Now that I'm seeing so many of them, or meeting so many of their mothers or fathers, or even just walking down the street, in my hometown in New York City, it's not a town, but in my city, and seeing parents be like, "Whoa, can I get a picture for my kid? Oh my God, they're gonna lose their mind." Like things like that absolutely kind of require you to, like you say, just consider, what that means, and definitely wanna be a little bit more protective, or precious over the character for sure.
And that kind of tracks because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time you've had an opportunity to reprise a character that you've already done, right? In this new series.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like revisiting this character? Like, where did you start? Did you want to make any adjustments after you saw, the final product
Mhm.
in Wakanda Forever when you brought it to Disney Plus, or what did
Yeah.
you do with that?
Oh man, that was absolutely a trip. That was a journey. That was something I was not prepared for at all, and kind of realized through the process that it really is like a day by day type of thing. I think there were absolutely aspects of Riri that I wanted to lean into, or challenge, and I think a part of that just came with a new storyline and a new and an opportunity to see new sides of this character that we definitely didn't get to dive into in with all of the high stakes that that were in Wakanda Forever. I think a lot of it is story specific and ends up relating back to who is RiRi in her home life. How does she sound similar or different when she's speaking with her family rather than when she's speaking to Shuri or the kids on her college campus? I think there were probably moments in Wakanda Forever where we got a glimpse of who RiRi was at home and what her life in Chicago might have required of her. I think when we see her navigating some of those challenges, either on campus or with the Taluk Canal or what have you. And so how do you lean into that, the little peek that we saw of her when she was, focused on her business, focused on making money? Where does that come from? And what does that look like when we go back to the source and really lean into why that's so important to her to begin with?
That really, to me, is the coolest thing about these Disney Plus series, is that you get this deep dive into characters that you think you know so much about when you're on the big screen, but then getting that origin story really kind of shapes, I think, what your fandom is like for them and even how you perceive them moving forward. Talk to me about that part of it too, because at this point now we've seen several characters get that treatment. And, for me, I know what I'm hoping it means. I'm hoping it means, you already know what I'm about to say. I'm hoping that it means we're going to see, the big screen solo version of this. And you don't have to talk about if that's even in the works right now, unless you want to. But tell me about what it means to you to be able to really explore the depths of that, with the idea that there are people like me out there who are naturally thinking that's what this all is going to ultimately lead to.
I think the thing I'm most excited for now are for people to see the whole host of characters that are waiting to meet you in Ironheart specifically. I think going back to Chicago really did open up an opportunity for a lot of beauty to come to the forefront, and within that I think there are so many options for people to again feel seen and heard, and hopefully for the folks from Chicago to feel like we did an accurate job of bringing the truth of their life to the MCU. And also I think it gives options for kind of like a choose your own adventure is kind of how I've been thinking about it, because we are departing from the storyline that was established in Wakanda Forever, in the process definitely becoming a lot more introspective. RiRi has a lot of reflecting to do, and on the other side has some pretty big decisions to make about who and how she's going to continue to show up now that she knows there's a bit of a spotlight on her. And I think that is really, really exciting, because it gives those of us out there who have always been well aware of our potential and the possibilities of things that we could achieve. It gives us some more practical, like tactile storylines to sort of lean into and say, oh, I would love to see RiRi or insert X character that they get to meet in the show. I would love to see them go down this road. I would love to see this explored more in a way that we just haven't done or seen before in the MCU, because of course, to their credit, they are so good about depth and leaning in to a storyline. So I think it's really exciting for this group of people to get the opportunity to have that fun.
I wondered if the pressure was dialed down a little bit for this series for you, because we all had so much emotion going into Wakanda Forever for all the reasons that we had emotion going into the film. Didn't know what it was going to be, and had also grieved the real life loss of Chadwick and the loss of the character in that film. But then you now are anchoring this series, so perhaps the pressure is even more dialed up from even that introduction. Like, what was that like for you? Like, where does the kind of tea kettle ring louder, whistle louder?
That is a good question, and I think there's absolutely some truth there. Even just personally, it's difficult to really focus in on me and this is my moment and whatever that version would have been, when the more pressing demand at the time was to really be a genuine supporting actor, character to the rest of the team and the crew at the time. And I kind of appreciate that and what that's taught me, because it really did give me the opportunity to, I think, to submit to this world that has been established long before me and get an understanding of its inner workings before heading into the series and being like, okay, let's do this my way. As RiRi would say, if we flip the focus and, focus on the show, I was excited by the challenge that was presented in the simple fact of leading something. This was my first time playing a leading role on screen, at least. And I was fortunate again to have worked in proximity to actors who have fulfilled the role of a leading man, leading lady with so much grace and so much skill and craft. So any nerves, any excitement, just all of the things that I could possibly feel having been faced with a challenge as great as this one for my career. I am amazed, I think, at the way that it's all kind of settled within me to now go into this moment of talking about it and reflecting on it. And at the end of the day, I think what I'm left with is a feeling of gratitude and also curiosity. I'm curious to see how I feel about seeing it again and how the world feels about it. Because again, at this particular point, I recognize that the project and the product is absolutely more so for those young women that we've been talking about than myself. I had the gift of the process and I really did enjoy it. I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot about myself. And now I'm kind of just in a place of gratitude. I'm ready to take the beauty of it for a ride and take the lessons from it for a spin and carry it into the next thing and hopefully do better.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Last question before I let you go. What's next for you? And I ask what's next for you with the context, because I want to remind people who are watching this that the way that you were introduced to us was 3 back-to-back critically acclaimed, acknowledged and awarded projects by 3 incredible creators. And there's now a 4th film that has done wonderful things on the festival circuit and will probably also be, talked about as we move into another space. What's next for you? Because I feel like that may be a little bit stressful, and I don't know if that's the word here, when it comes to picking future projects, like knowing that you've delivered these 4 back-to-back things and then now a new incredible series, what's next?
There's so many incredibly talented actors out there who I've been just soaking up and admiring and could only hope to, to strive in the lanes that they've walked and the impact that their work has had in front and behind the camera. And so I think next up, I really am just looking to collaborate with some of those people, to learn from them up close, to continue to play in the craft of it all and really identify what my craft and my process is, to understand that better. And I think the only way to do that is to keep going. That's really what I'm hoping for, is to get the chance to work with some of these incredible people that I've only to this point been able to admire and support and cheer on. I hope that next I will get the chance to work with them and play alongside them.
I have a feeling all of that is going to come to fruition for you.
From your lips.
Dominique Thorne, thank you so much for taking time out to chat with me today, and continued success. You've been giving us such great content, and I look forward to getting some more.
Thank you so much. Such a joy to talk to you.